Let there be light, and there was light. So, welcome. I am Crime Queen. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Okay, this is where we explore scriptural references through the lens of numerology. So, do stick around and let's have some fun. Okay, so we are looking at the number 7. I've done a few series of numbers or exploration on the number 7 in a different way to see how the seventh God played out in the scripture, which is the made God. When we say the seventh God, that is the entry of the 14 gods of Genesis chapter 1 and 2. So, of the 14 gods, we have a list of the functions, or I like to say the expression numbers, or life path number. Okay, so in fact, it makes me feel quite good in a way to see that the gods are not just like names as we have known, but they are actually expressing their functions as in this form: the created God, the made God, the said God, and so on. So I have got this list on here. And of these 14 gods, of course, as I say, they're expression numbers. The other thing that I thought was very good to notice, or insightful, we could say, to see their expression. And perhaps if you are 11 life path number, you would see the God that you are created, well, not just created, that you are, let's say you are, because it's like you are baby, we are baby gods. Okay. And if you are the life path number 5, if you have a 5 life path number, you would be operating under the moved God. So this is what I thought is also fun to look at as well. We have got 6. The only number that does not really show here is in this list here, in this format, is number, well, it's 2 numbers, number 2 and 4. However, we see that 2 is also present, is already present in this created God, in this format here. So that is the initial expression numbers. Now, I know I said I'm looking at number 7, but I just thought it'd be nice to look at this this information here in terms of what we are doing. We can see number 7 is the Saw God. It's like that is really expressive meaning of the number 7. The number 7 is a cutoff point. It completes a cycle, it completes an era, it completes a journey, and it cuts off. And of course, this is where it stands firm, it stands whole, we could say. Okay, and we haven't got number 9 and number 4. But again, if we can see from here, if we do the numerical value of number 2, which does not appear here, for instance, as in the number 2, which is which gives us 11. 11 equals 2, but it also gives us 4. So basically, we can see why number 11 is really a master number, because it's not only 11, it's not only 13, it's also 4, and so on. So I think that is very expressive. We do not have the number 9, as I say, but we see that 9 is another cycle which appears here with the brave God. This is where things are birthed. Okay, and we also have number 3, which also covers number 9, because if we did the numerical value for the word 9, that would also give us 9. Sorry, the word 11. The word 11 would give us 9. So we can see the intelligence of the gods right here in their functions. Nothing is really missed from here. It is really, we could say it is hidden here. This is why now we have got quite a lot of information that comes under the heading of hidden information or hidden in plain sight. So could it be that these 5 gods here, the ended God, the formed God, the caused God, the breathed God, and the planted God, were really expressing the hidden areas or the hidden facets of the first 9 gods? Because here, for instance, although not expressed in this area here for number 2, but it's very clear that number 7 here gives us number 2 as it does in the soul God, and we have number 9 we have 9 here of the breathed God and the planted God. So of course the caused God, which is number 8, also gives us number 4. So the numbers that we felt, in fact, I think is becoming clearer. Some of the numbers that seem or appear to be absent here are really apparent here. So 4 is not listed here, but it is in this column. Likewise, 2. We have 2 is not reflected in this column, but it shows its attributes right here. So the only thing that's amiss here is 9, which comes into the 5. Now the 5 gods of the planted God, the caused God, the breathed God, and the formed God, and the ended God. Okay, so of course what we have got for the ended God, because the word end equals 5, we can see that the number 5, which is in the middle of the numbers 1 to 9, is very apparent here, and this is where we start the next cycle. All right, so talking about number 7, I just thought we could revisit number 7 by looking at one of the texts that Christ said when Christ said it is finished. I think it is meant to be the last words that Jesus spoke. Now I'm really looking at scripture verses. Generally I look at Genesis, but I have this understanding and observation that the teachings of Christ, or the story of Christ, is really about Genesis. It's really about Mother Eve. It's really about this cycle that we have just said is complete. So there's a 7 cycle that is complete. There's an 8, the number 8, which sets things into a pattern or into motion or whatever it is, and number 8 therefore is that symbol of infinity, which could be of movement or could be, well, everything is forever moving, but it's a pattern that is set. And so we see that those when Christ, for instance, what really got me with this, or should I say what really got my attention with this, was 111. And because number 7 equals, or 1 equals 7, let's do some mathematics. So pen. So 1, okay, something that writes a bit clearer. 1 is 6, 5, 5. And so when we add this together is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. So 1 is really 7, or 7 is really 1. This is where we understand the cycle, how the cycle is formed here, or the creation, which was one creation here, we could say, or one cycle, or the beginning and end. And so, of course, when we do a numerical value for the word 7, seven, which is 1, 5, 4, 5, 5, adding this together is 20. So 20, of course, this is 2. So basically 7 in that cycle of 7, we is the seed that represents two sets of creation, or two of whatever 7 is representing here. In this sense is 6 days of creation, the seventh day of rest. So we see everything else that has come into being is one. This is why we see ourselves as one. We are one. We are, every time I say one, I also think of WON, which also equals 5, 6, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5. This is also 16. And it also reminds me of the word now, which is the same thing. It's the same letters, or it's also we have one now, or own, or WN. So this is really 7 in a way that I know I have done many presentations to show this, but I really feel that the more we get to understand the fundamentals about creation, it's the more we'll understand ourselves. When people go around saying, oh, we are one, we are just one, it's important to understand the derivative of that statement. And this statement, of course, coincides with Mother Eve's lettings, as I say, her let there be lettings, let there be light, let there be a firmament, let there be the waters, and to divide the waters from the waters that was above the heavens, and so on. And on the 8th entry, Mother Eve says, let there be light, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And this 8th image, of course, when we, oh, this 8th, I'm saying, this 8th Latin of Mother Eve, which I call it like a letter, we say Latins, it's like a business. It was a business. This is perhaps the most business-like scripture that I have encountered. I thought it was perhaps only in Proverbs of the Holy Bible, but it's right there in Genesis of chapter 1. So when Mother Eve, from chapter 1 verse 3, when she says, let there be light, this is where we start coming into the legislations of Mother Eve's business, and contracts to the gods. And those gods, of course, this is why there was the let us make man. And we learn, or some of us have learned, that this is where Jesus was. And so God was talking to Jesus. But the scriptures shows us clearly here with the 14 gods, the list of 14 gods, and the numbers or their attributes or functions have clearly showed us there is a strong synchronistic element here, or there's a pattern, there's a mathematical construct that renders a meaning and a formula for the business that Mother Eve had conveyed or contracted out to the gods. So this is why we also have in the scriptures, we move on to hear about I will be the Lord your God. So it's as if the gods had their contracts to different people or entities or whatever it is. So I want to keep this short, but also to show that this is how the gods, they had to win the contract, so they won, they owned the contract, and but they had to be present, they had to be now, and that now is the present, just that like the present that was in the Garden of Eden. So the Garden of Eden, the present that was there was the serpent, the serpent, which is of 7 letters. So the letters, this is interesting. So the serpent consists of 7 letters. I'm looking for the dark pen I've just used. Okay, so, oh, there it is. So the serpent in the garden was that which was present. Oh, okay. Hope you can see that. Okay, serpent. And it equals 34. So 3 plus, okay, another pen. Perhaps we should do this over. So there we are. This is much better. So the serpent was looking for the green color, because we're talking about a serpent in the Garden of Eden, of course. So 334 is 7. So we can see that 7, the serpent in itself, really was 1. It was foundational. When we do the word 7, it is Eve. There is Eve in the middle. So Eve in the middle was really, Eve is the serpent. And the serpent was that which was present to even out things. The S at the beginning of the word is really indicative of everything that follows on. So it consists of everything. It really is the concise message or image or attribute of that evenness that follows, but it breaks it down. It's like saying it could be a drink and it tells you the contents. The rest is telling you about the different nutritional values in the drink, so to speak. So this is really what 7 consists. 7 consists of everything that's already created. It's not like when God saw, whatever was saw, everything was already there. And so even to say, use the word saw as the 7th God, I think the 7th God is the made God, but the saw God, which is SAW, the saw God equals 7, which is 115 equals 7. So we can see that the saw God contains everything and cuts away like a piece of apple, if you like, but everything in one piece of apple or one slice of apple is the same content you will find in the other piece of apple. That's what 7 is about. That's what the saw is about. Okay, so this is just to give us a clearer understanding about the number 7. So if you have a life path number 7, then you perhaps will understand why it is said that 7 is one of the most sacred numbers and very spiritual number, because it has there is so much to it. It's complete. It really is complete, and it's that which contains all, and that which can also replicate itself in a sense. Okay, so it forms a foundation, and of course there's so much more to 7. So I hope you enjoy this. Please give us a like and share, and of course, oh yes, share, give us a like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.